everyone, Cassius here, welcoming you back to the Shakespeare Minute after the 2-week hiatus with, as promised, the belated Father's Day episode. Hey everyone, it's time for Shakespeare's Top 5 Dads. Before I jump into the list, a quick recap of Shakespearean dads in general. There are way more of them than Shakespearean moms, but that absolutely does not mean that we're going to get a selection of awesome paternal instincts here. While the Shakespearean mothers are few and far between and sometimes very tangential, Lady Montague, I am looking at you. At least they tend to be in the same corner as their children. I think that the only time that I can come up with that you actively see a mother deliberately doing something counter to her children's welfare is Cleopatra's suicide in Antony and Cleopatra, when she is specifically told that her children will be treated worse if she takes Antony's course. Well, dads are another story. Whether they are father to sons, daughters, or both, fathers are often the antagonists in their children's stories. They stand in the way of marriages and relationships. Seriously, in almost every single comedy, there is a dad trying to stop a marriage, and in quite a few of the tragedies as well. They actively fight their own children, like the Duke of York in Richard II. They legally work against their own children, like Aegeus in Midsummer Night's Dream. They browbeat their children, like Lord Capulet in Romeo and Juliet. They embarrass the hell out of their children, like Gloucester in King Lear. In short, if you thought that the Mother's Day video made you grateful for your mom not being a Shakespeare character, this list will do wonders for your opinions of non-fictional dads. It certainly did for me. And now, dad number 5. Simonides from Pericles, father to Thaisa. Yep, to find dads who aren't awful, sometimes you have to go all the way to the really, really obscure ones. Simonides in Pericles sets up a tournament for the knights of his land to come and win his daughter's hand in marriage. His daughter, Thaisa, falls in love with the winner, Pericles, who at the moment is a poor, shipwrecked version of his former regal self. He is, after all, the Prince of Tyre, as per the subtitle to the play. But instead of freaking out that some random dude won the tournament and his daughter's heart, Simonides is actually just kinda cool with it. He likes the guy, and he wants them to get married, and encourages them, and it's fine. For being a fantastic and actually kind of funny exception to the "I hate the man my daughter loves for no good reason" rule, Simonides takes spot number 5. Granted, he's bizarre as hell if you've seen the play or read it. You know, he's one weird duck, but, you know, that's the play. Dad number 5, Simonides, father to Thaisa from Pericles, Prince of Tyre.
Either frame your will to mine, and you, sir, hear you. Either be ruled by me, or I'll make you man and wife. Nay, come, your hands and lips must seal it too. And being joined, I'll thus your hopes destroy, and for further grief, God give you joy.
Dad number 4, the shepherd from The Winter's Tale, father to the clown and Perdita. Another late play gives us dad number 4, The Winter's Tale. Now, the shepherd is a bohemian provincial type, father to the silly clown character, and he also adopts Perdita, the Sicilian princess who was abandoned in the Bohemian woods as a baby. He also is just a really sweet guy. He loves his daughter, he raises 2 children who love each other, and is all around just a really nice dude who knows how to throw a really kickin' shindig. The shepherd wholeheartedly approves of his daughter's choice of man, even though he thinks that his daughter's fiancé is just some random shepherd guy, and he's not. Unfortunately, in this play, his daughter's fiancé is the one to have the tyrannical dad, and that leads into the problems that color the final parts of the play. So that is dad number 4. The shepherd, father to the clown, and adopted father to Perdita in The Winter's Tale.
He says he loves my daughter. I think so too. For never gaze the moon upon the water, as he'll stand and read as 'twere my daughter's eyes. And to be plain, I think there is not half a kiss to choose who loves another best.
She dances featly.
So she does anything.
Dad number 3 is Aaron from Titus Andronicus. Now, dad number 3 is where things get interesting. Aaron in Titus is not a good guy. He's pretty much pure evil at his heart.
Art thou not sorry for these heinous deeds?
Aye. But I'd not done 1,000 more. Even now, I curse the day. And yet I think few come within the compass of my curse, wherein I did not some notorious ill.
Like that, exactly. Well, when he discovers that the Empress' son is also his son, he becomes majorly protective in a big way. He knows that the world of Titus Andronicus is a great place to get killed, and he knows that his child is in major trouble, and he will do anything to defend him. The Empress wants evidence of her infidelity killed, but Aaron defies his lover and queen and kills the only people who know about the child and escapes. He even agrees to confess all of his crimes at one point if that means that his child will escape death. Now, that is one great, scary dad. Wouldn't swap him for, say, my dad, but you know this guy is the extra mile kind of parent. So that is Aaron, father to Tamara's baby from Titus Andronicus.
But say again, how many saw the child?
Cornelia the midwife, and myself, and no one else but the delivered Empress.
The Empress, the midwife, and yourself. Two may keep counsel when the third's away. Go to the Empress. Tell her this I said.
Dad number 2 is John Gaunt from Richard II. Of course I was going to come back to this play, it's my fave, but also John Gaunt is not a halfway bad father. He disagrees with his son's decision in the first act of the play to stir up some controversy at court, but supports his son once the decision is made. He powerfully laments his son's banishment, and while he's clearly hit hard by the certainty that he won't live long enough to see his son's return from exile, he spends all of the time before his son's departure trying to comfort him. He then falls ill and dies after his son's exile, eloquently shaming the king for helping to age him and weary him by separating him from his child.
The pleasure that some fathers feed upon is my strict fast. I mean my children's looks, and therein fasting hast thou made me go.
Admittedly, Gaunt did use his legal power to affirm the exile when he was in the council that decided upon that punishment for his son, Bolingbroke, and Bolingbroke's rival at the time, Thomas Mowbray. But it is unlikely that his opposition to such punishment would have meant much. For the touching parting scene, one of the few personal moments in the entire play, John Gaunt wins the spot as Dad number 2.
All places that the eye of heaven visits are to a wise man ports and happy havens. Teach thy necessity to reason thus. There is no virtue like necessity.
Before we get to Dad number 1, let's go through a few honorable mentions and why they did not crack the top 5, in no particular order. Prospero from The Tempest. He's not mean to his daughter, but the sheer arbitrariness of what he put her through on that island seems ridiculous. Good dad, not a top 5 dad. Henry IV from Henry IV parts 1 and 2. Henry IV mostly has a crippling crisis of confidence, so he's not a bad dad, he just thinks he is. He'd be on the list if it wasn't for his "I wish my son had been switched at birth" moment, said in public in front of several courtiers. Not something to really volunteer in front of other people there, Henry. Titus Andronicus from Titus Andronicus. The guy spends the whole play avenging wrongs perpetrated against his children. What keeps him off the list? Mostly this.
My lord, you pass not here.
What, then? Boy, pass me my way in Rome, huh?
Yeah, do not anger that guy. Duncan from Macbeth. Not really present enough as a father to warrant a top 5 place, but has 2 fairly intelligent, good sons. Terrible at picking generals to trust, though. and Owen Glendower from Henry IV Part 1, who is another instance of a dad who likes his daughter's husband. Yay! What keeps him from the top 5 is that he did marry off his daughter to a man who doesn't speak her language. I will never stop having problems with that. And now, dad number 1, Belarius from Cymbeline. Hey, don't go. I promise, even if you've never heard of the character or play, this guy is worth hearing about. Belarius, as those of you who know the play are doubtless screaming at your screens right now, is not actually the biological father to his 2 sons. He kidnapped them from the King of Britain and raised them as his own in the woods as a pissy message to the king who had just banished him. Belarius was angry that his loyal service had gotten him banished, and he overreacted and kept the princes as his own family, renaming Guiderius and Arviragus as Polydore and Cadwal. So he already has better naming sense than their bio dad, Cymbeline. Now, this might not seem like a great way to start a family, but he actually does a pretty bang-up job with them. This guy does what seems like the impossible in Shakespeare. He raised 2 sons who he loves, who love him, love each other, and are generally good human beings. No harmful rivalry between the 2 boys, neither of them is evil. You would honestly be surprised to know that they were Shakespeare characters. Oh, except for the fact that Guiderius does have a death penalty for people who he considers stupid, but this is Shakespeare and that's considered okay. Belarius also has great respect for his sons as they are the princes as well, but his love for them always comes off as fatherly, not the automatic fawning of a subject. He feels very badly about having to keep up the lie that keeps them in the dark, but tries to educate them as well as possible in the wilderness, knowing that one day they will have to return. As kidnapping your enemy's child and raising them as your own goes, you can most definitely do worse. So there he is, father number 1, Belarius, father to Guiderius and Arviragus, aka Polydore and Cadwal, from Cymbeline.
How hard it is to hide the sparks of nature. These boys know little that they are sons to the king, nor Cymbeline dreams that they are alive. They think they are mine.
Well, that was exhausting. Happy belated Father's Day, and here is hoping that your family situation is slightly less interesting than most of Shakespeare's depictions of the same. Oh, by the way, everybody, I know that I said that the schedule after I returned from hiatus would be Monday, Wednesday, Friday, but as it turns out, that middle of the week Wednesday is a little bit tricky for me. So I'm just going to cut it down to Monday and Friday. If I have any overflow bits that I want to put on Wednesday, I will do, but I don't think that I have any particular videos that I wanted to do strictly on the Wednesday, so I'm going to keep Monday as the more scholarly stuff, Friday is the sillier material. It's pretty much going to be a free-for-all, but it's going to be Monday and Friday. Of course, the hiatus ended on a Wednesday, and this is going to be this week's Monday video, but after this Friday, it'll be Monday, Friday, but no Wednesday unless I get extra material for it. See you around this Friday, and then Mondays and Fridays going forward.